Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Season 2 opener, The Robot Revolution. I really liked the cold open for this, because the 17 years ago and the 17 years later, I was curious, like, that doesn't necessarily mean either of those time periods are present time or when. We got clarification on that later, but I didn't know that then. I liked the awkwardness between what was going on between Belinda and Alan. Because it kind of struck me as that younger couple, little awkward, maybe friends transitioning into a relationship, didn't really know them. Even when they kissed each other, it was a little weird and awkward. I think a lot of us have been there with a situation like that. All right, do I kiss her, didn't it? It amused me. And then it cutting to her being a nurse, you know, I'm like, oh, I have questions. I love the robots. I love the look of this episode, just the aesthetics of the Belinda home planet, the rocket, the robots. It has a very retro futuristic look to it, like a 60s or 70s futuristic looks, or even further back, like 50s, with the rocket looking like one of those old school, you know, rockets from like way back in the 40s, 50s, 60s. I liked that. I love the look of the robots, how they kind of remind me of some of the droids from Star Wars, but with a more friendly look. I like the big red colors on them, which also kind of made me think of the Daleks from the Cushing movies. I like how they had the little expressions on their faces that changed, like the cat symbol, the X, the check mark. I don't know, that kind of made me think of Smile. I just love the aesthetic of this world. It had a very, again, retro look to it. It had a bit of a Star Wars look, too, sometimes in the city on the Belinda planet. It kind of reminded me of Cloud City from Star Wars. I loved the little polish car robot. It had this adorable kind of R2-D2 BB-8 vibe, and I love the fact it looks like an old car, like an old 50s, 60s car, like maybe kind of like an old Beetle. I loved that look. Again, that was one of the things that I really loved about the episode, was just that retro futuristic 60s idea of the future look this whole city had. It was very colorful too. The colors really popped. The colors kind of had a 70s look to them, like when you first see Belinda's throne. It's got that kind of orange and stuff going off of it. Really liked that. Belinda is kind of a mixed bag for me. The actress playing her is doing fine. I liked her for most of the episode. She's a little irritating at the end. I'll get to that as I progress through it. But I like the fact that she's just immediately like, nope to all of this. I love that. She's not curious. She doesn't want to go on adventures. She just wants to go home. I like the whole time. She's just like, nah, not for me. Would you like to travel all through time and space? Nope, I got work tomorrow. I kind of like that attitude of she's just noping out of all of it. And how, like, the whole time she's being captured, she's just like, nope, you don't want me. I didn't buy it. Go get Alan. He's here. Go get him. He owes me 50 quid. And just, I love the fact that that bit is treated as a little just comedic throwaway thing, and it ends up being important later. I really enjoyed that. I really liked Ncuti Gatwa's performance in this. He's a good actor, but he's written well in this too. Loved his outfit at the beginning of the episode too. That outfit he's wearing with the little kilt made me think of Jamie. And I like to think that when he put it on, he was thinking of Jamie. And of course, Jamie's one of my favorite companions. He's absolutely killing that outfit. Love it. And I like when they hit that little time thing, the doctor's reaction to it, which we've kind of seen that clip in the trailers, and he's like, oh. And he starts checking through stuff like, oh. I liked that. I enjoyed that. The explanation of it, of like Belinda's planet and Earth having that little fissure between them, and I like all the timey-wimey shenanigans tying all that together. Was really nice. I like the, what was her name? Like Sierra 55 or whatever her name was. I like the fact that even though she's not in the episode much, I liked her. And you automatically get that there's a connection between her and the doctor, because the doctor has been on this planet for 6 months at this point because of the little time fissure thing. And so he's had time to form bonds. And so when she gets killed, even though you don't really get much time with her, you still kind of feel an effect for it, which even after she dies progressively, you get more of that through the episode, through the doctor kind of talking about her. I liked that. You know, that's another one of those ones where, ooh, that would have been maybe a good companion. You know, those companions that almost were, we get sometimes, kind of like Duggan. You know, I would have liked to have seen them travel together. The actress did a good job with that small amount of time she had of playing Sierra 55, whatever her name was. We do get a little scene with him crying again, because the Doctor cries a lot this one. But it gets a pass for me for this one because he had spent that much time with her. The fact he had spent 6 months with her, she was kind of the one that was protecting him when the TARDIS was originally taken from him and, you know, was watching after him. There's time for that bond to form, and for him to want to take her as a companion. So when he's shedding those tears for her, I get that. I can understand why, especially this Doctor would do that. So it works for me here. I loved seeing Miss Flood again. I have my own theory about who she is, and I do think she's a classic villain. I will talk about that at the end of the video. It's nice to see her. It's nice to see the thread of her still running through here. The ending is interesting. I'm going to get into spoilers here if you haven't seen it. The ending with the AI machine. I like the design of the AI machine, too. And, oh, before I talk about that, I did like the little 9th word thing. That was pretty neat. That was pretty neat, the little AI bit. With the 9th word, with every 9th word it couldn't hear. I like that. And the fact that even Alan himself seemed to cause that. It's really interesting to realize that the AI is Alan, what's left of Alan. That's pretty neat. And I didn't expect that. I figured he was just a one-off character at the beginning, you know, just to give her the star chart that kick-started the episode. I didn't expect that to come back. So it gets props for kind of going in that direction when I didn't see it coming. And realizing that Alan is a bit controlling. And I think that's something we can relate to. I think a lot of people have been in those kind of relationships, or maybe not to that degree, but that kind of relationship. And I know some people are going to get mad that they feel like the show's getting a little political there. I don't really see that, because there are people like that in the world, and all genders and all races. So I'm not going to sit here and nitpick it, because like I don't think Russell T. Davies is calling out white men. I'll say it just straight up. I don't think he's doing that. I think that there are people like that. There are men like that. There are women like that. There are people of all colors like that. I mean, we've either been in relationships like that. We have friends who have been in relationships like that. I mean, most guys have that one guy friend who had the controlling girlfriend to where the guy couldn't even look at the waitress when he ordered. So that's fine. I just choose to see that as he's making a point, and that there are just people like that of all shapes, colors, sizes, genders. So that didn't bother me. And the fact that even Alan had realized that, and he was even using the 9th word to say, help me, get me out of this, that even he realized what had happened was bad. So it gives him a little bit of redemption there, that he didn't want to be in that kind of pain. That's interesting. And again, just the timey-wiminess of it all, and it was Belinda's throwaway comment at the beginning, go get Alan, that caused all this to begin with. So she's a little at fault there. I like the other character there, Miller, was that his name? Miller, something like that. The other guy, he reminds me so much of Pex from Paradise Towers. Is it Paradise Towers? I think it's Paradise Towers. He reminds me of Pex. That's interesting. Just something about the look makes me think of Pex. He was cool. I figured we'd get more of him in the episode, but you know what little bit we got of him was interesting. You can kind of figure out why he is a bit antagonistic toward Belinda. I like that Belinda is strong-willed, like her cutting on the machine because she doesn't want people to die. Am I the only one, when we saw the scene of what the AI was going to do to her, when it was putting the metal on her face, am I the only person that had flashbacks to Superman 3? Because wasn't any child of the 80s, or maybe the child of the 70s who was at that age, is going to have some scarred memories of Superman 3 when the woman gets taken over by the machine. That was some creepy stuff back then. That was the first thing that popped in my mind. I'm like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I had nightmares about that. Of course, also I thought Cybermen parallels, because it is very evocative of the Cybermen in a way, and I'd love to see the Cybermen possessing people like that, you know. At least maybe I'd want to see it. I'd probably just think of Superman 3. But that was interesting, you know, being cybernized that way. Of course, it made me think of that. The ending, ooh, I still like that Belinda just wants to go home. I like that about her. But I got a little annoyed when she got snarky with him. Like, is that what you say to all of the companions? He's like, no. Well, what about her? You know, she got killed. Sierra 55 or whatever her name was. The one thing that rubbed me wrong when she's like, you scanned me without consent. I'm like, what? Are you serious? Like, he didn't, like, even inject you with a needle. He took the sonic and waved it at you. That's when I started to realize, I think the whole problem with Alan and Belinda's relationship, I don't think it's completely Alan. I think a good bit of it could have been Alan, but maybe they're just both toxic people in some ways. Like, I know some people who are great people normally, but for some reason they are just toxic in relationships. Like, I had a friend that girl I was friends with for 4 years. We were great. We dated for a few months, and she was, and I won't say it's 100% her fault, but I think a lot of it was her fault. And then about a year later, we were able to be friends again after we broke up. And we got along fine for several years after that, just as friends. We worked as friends, didn't work in a relationship. So I do think part of that is maybe Belinda's problem. It'd be different if he had to, take a biopsy or something, or stab her with a needle, but he literally just went, beep. And she's like, you didn't even ask for consent. I'm like, seriously? I couldn't put up with stuff like that. Like, if I was on a date and somebody was like that, I'm trying to think of a good example, was that bossy. One of the great things about being in my 40s now is I give zero craps about stuff like that. I have no qualms being like, okay. I'd be like Val Kilmer. Are you still here? You may go now. Like Val Kilmer in Tombstone. Are you still here? You may go now. The stuff I put up with in my 20s because I really want to get laid tonight. In my 40s, I'm like, don't really give a shit. You can go. I love being my age sometimes. But the fact the doctor's like, I'm with both hearts, I'm so sorry. I'm like, I did like the reference to Monday, though. The other girl the actress played. The fact that that's one of the descendants, I like how they tied that in, that they don't just leave that as a coincidence. I like there's an explanation there. And it's part of the mystery of why the doctor's trying to figure her out, as much as I really don't want another mystery box companion. But, and then the ending with him trying to get home and it bouncing off that specific day, which does kind of feel like Series 5 all over again with Amy. With stuff going on with her with that specific day. And then seeing all the stuff floating around, that was pretty neat at the end. I have questions. It did a good job. For the most part, I liked the episode. Like I said, it doesn't quite hit S tier because of those little nitpicks, but it's really good. Love the look of it. Again, I love that futuristic look. I think the story was written well. I like the twist with it being Alan. It's just those little nitpicks can rankle a bit. Because honestly, they don't need to be there. There's no point for them to be there. Robert Holmes, I think, could have done a little bit better with that script. I really could, if he had been able to get his hands on it and script edit it. Terrence Dicks as well. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It's got me hyped up for the season. It got me wondering about Mrs. Flood. I really liked the performances. Again, the actress playing Belinda seems like she's doing well in the role, especially since I wasn't overly impressed with her as Monday last season. But at the time, I didn't really like many of the guest characters in Boom as much as I do enjoy Boom. But she's much better here. I'm curious to learn more about Belinda. I want to see the chemistry between her and the Doctor more. It's interesting to kind of have a Doctor companion duo where the companion's a bit I don't know the word I'm looking for, antagonistic toward the Doctor, I guess. It very much is that old school throwback to 60s Who, where the companion's with the Doctor not necessarily by choice, kind of like Ian and Barbara, for example. They just kind of get thrown in there and they can't get home. So it's kind of nice to see a callback to that. I really liked Ncuti Gatwa's performance in this episode. I really liked the way his Doctor is written in this episode. Little things he did. I like when he was shooing her into the TARDIS, like, come on. Little things like that I enjoyed. And there are certain reactions he had. Like, I like the fact that he really liked the little polished robot and he hated having to turn it off. That's very the Doctor to me. Kind of reminds me of when Tennant saw the robots in A Girl in the Fireplace, and he's like, you are beautiful. I like his appreciation for stuff like that. So 15 very much feels like the Doctor in this. And there are other little things he does, like when he first shows up in the episode and he looks out of the TARDIS and he's like, ha ha! I like that. Just that excitement he has. I really enjoyed that as well. So yeah, overall, little nitpicks that just keep it out of S range, but still a lot of fun and very enjoyable and a good start for the season. And Mrs. Flood, I'm going to call it, in my opinion. I'm going to make my little bet on it. I say the Black Guardian. If I could pick one villain I think she is that's coming back from either classic or modern, I'd say the Black Guardian. Just something screams the Black Guardian for me. The kind of conversation she had in Empire of Death when she was talking to Cherry just screams Black Guardian. So that's who I'm calling Black Guardian. As much as I love Valentine in that role, he's so great, I think she's the Black Guardian. I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to progress. So yeah, I liked this episode. I think it has a lot going for it, especially the look of it. You can see where the budget went. The budget is there. I really liked the way this episode looked. Had a cinematic look, good budget, good effects. And again, I love that retro, futuristic look. That really sold me on the episode, especially like the first half of the episode. And then the story, for the most part, is good. Belinda has a couple little personality quirks I don't care for. But we'll see how that progresses throughout the season. And it sets up a nice little hook to carry us through the season to see what's going on. So I want to know what you think of the Robot Revolution. Comment down below and let's talk about it. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me on that. There is a link to that down in the description below as well. I have a P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. I love getting fan mail. People have been sending these wonderful standard editions. Simon and Colin have been really good about that, which I really appreciate. Love to get some more of those. I have a link to my Amazon wishlist down there. A link to my Amazon UK wishlist is down there as well. Check those out. I do want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Colin Coney, Sam Venning, Unknown289, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, thank you for watching.